We are back. Welcome to Breakdown and Bets with Brandan Olivas and Santino DeFranco. We're here. We've got another fight in front of us, UFC Fight Night, Derrick Lewis and Chris Daukaus. But, man, we have a lot to talk about before that.
Yeah, how was your weekend last week?
Exhausting. I am ready for, we've got a month coming up, pretty much of no UFCs. We've got, I think the next one is January 16th after this. And I am ready for that. The fights alone this week were exhausting. It was a lot of work. We did a lot of film and we killed it. We'll get to our bets in a minute. And the film.
Now you cornered Eric Anders, right?
Yes, I cornered Eric Anders at the UFC live in Vegas. He ended up not getting the win. He just fought a tough guy in Andre Muniz. We knew what we were getting into. We knew it. Andre Muniz is tough. He has great jiu-jitsu. He has just a really good blast double. And he finds the back. He finds a way to win. And that's what he did with Eric. There was nothing that we saw in that fight that we didn't think that Muniz was going to do. There was nothing that we didn't prepare for. Eric got back to the cage. He got back up. He even had his elbow inside, and all he had to do was just cut that elbow to the cage, not to say all he had to do, but to get out of the position that dragged him back down. The main position, once he stood back up, is he had to get his head on the cage. He had to get his elbow in between him and Muniz, and he had to start walking away and scraping. He was not able to do those things, and Muniz was able to get him back down. And honestly, the same way that he finished that armbar on Jacare, he had his back. Eric was shaking him off and thought, "Oh, I'm good here. I'm out." And he attacked that arm and put it in his pocket. And, to hell with you, Andre Muniz, for winning and taking half of Eric's paycheck. But hats off to you, man, for a performance. You can't get mad about something like that.
No, you can't. And, we're two jiu-jitsu guys, and seeing a jiu-jitsu performance like that is phenomenal. You didn't talk too much about the fight last week, but I know that I did. And I said that Muniz has some kind of star quality about him. And, this fight's going to go one of two ways. Is Eric makes it out of the first round and slowly picks him apart until Muniz is dead tired, or Muniz gets a quick sub, and that's what happened. And we said, oh, man, I'm not sure if it's going to happen if people just get lazy in there and they think that they're okay until they're not okay. And like you said, that's kind of what happened there.
Yeah, he didn't have the sense of urgency to just flail. But that said, Eric said, he's like, man, he was just a little tighter than I thought he would be. And that's all it takes. This is a fight game. This is the fight game. Now,
game of inches.
I am mad that Eric lost, all right? But we have to talk about something way more pressing than Eric's winning or losing this fight. Eric goes in the cage, and he gets to his corner. Me and Eddie Cha and Ray Waters are in the corner with him, and we're waiting. And then Andre Muniz comes out. And what do I hear? What do my ears hear? Did you remember what he came out to?
No.
He came out to Eminem. And Eminem,
that's the white boy anthem. That's for you.
Well, that is also the curse. If you look back, probably 90% of fighters who come out to Eminem, they lose. And I thought, he's coming out to Eminem. He can't win. And then I thought, shit, what if this is the one that breaks the curse? And I was like, no, he's not going to break the curse. He's not the one to break the curse. And he broke the damn curse. And he freaking won.
Wow, I actually didn't know that. There's so many crazy statistics out there. That's one of those you don't think about. Now, do you have anything else you want to touch on that fight?
I do actually. One other curse. The other curse of people who lose are people who fist bump buffer during the announcement. So
wow, really?
Yes. So you fist bump buffer, you come out to Eminem, you lose. So I wonder if the two negated each other.
It's a double negative there. He did both to break it.
Yeah, it's a double curse, and you can't triple stamp a double stamp, and you cannot and you cannot beat a double curse. So
now I want to know, along the same lines of that kind of superstition, what are the odds of fighters who have walked out to Jay-Z?
I don't think any fighter has the balls to walk out with Jay-Z. I think it'd be,
actually, that's not true.
I think it'd be.
We
too
just
much.
saw this last week.
Though people's
Jose
minds
Aldo
would blow up. Their minds would blow up. Who was it? Who did Jose?
Mr. J. He walks out to run this town every single time.
Oh yeah,
I
guess he does. All right, so he 100%.
All right, let's get into to last week. How did you do betting wise last week? Now, before we get into this, I don't know if you guys noticed, I'm in a new studio.
Oh,
so obviously
I noticed.
It was a great week for me. If you notice these ones and these ones, okay? So we're going to get into the bets last week in just a second, but I do want to give a little story about these. So if you guys haven't noticed by now, Jay-Z has been in every background of my videos. I'm a big Jay-Z fan. That's my guy. So maybe we can post the link in the video.
Speaking of Jay-Z, I'm wearing a Kanye sweatshirt right now. I feel like
little brother,
right? I feel like we're on the same page.
Yeah, we're all there. So this is really cool, and maybe we can post the link to the video in the comments here or the description. So these two paintings behind me. Very beautiful abstract art. So Jay-Z was doing a performance at the Barclays Center when it opened up in 2012. Last performance, he took the subway to his last show of the 8 shows and 8 nights. And he sat on the subway next to a little old lady who did not know who Jay-Z was. And she, oh, are you famous? Yeah, I'm famous. He's like, not very though, you don't know me, but I'll get there someday. And she's like, just tell me again, what's your name? He goes, I'm Jay-Z. She's like, oh my God, I know Jay-Z. So long story short, I contacted her via Instagram. She gives me a call. Now she is elderly, so technology is not the number one. Like you can't just go on, buy, click, and ships to your house. Like you have to kind of find the pieces. She goes to the storage unit and figures out what she has and what you got to get. So now these two pieces of art, and I have one more piece, are purchased from the lady who met Jay-Z on the subway. Her name is Ellen Grossman, such a phenomenal lady. So I'm really, really happy to have these because these have meaning to me.
Nice.
So for the future subs, you're going to have to get redirected to this video to figure out what these are in the background.
I mean, what is that? What's going on back there? Nope. I've already explained it once. I'm not doing it again.
Never again. All right, let's get kicked off. How did you do last week? How'd your bets go?
I killed it. I killed it. Now, remember, we talked about this a little bit. I think it was last week. Just because we say they win on the podcast right here, right now, we're breaking down fights and we're talking about who we think are going to win. But that doesn't mean we're betting on them. And, the bets that I picked last week, gosh, I don't even remember. I posted them on our Patreon. I'll have to go through in a minute. But I did a love them and a like them bet stash. I got all of my love.
I actually have them here for you if you want me to read them.
Yeah, go through them if you could.
Okay, so, and guys, this is on the Patreon, so we killed it last week. So your love'ems was O'Malley, Maverick and Blanchfield over 1.5 or 2.5. We had Munoz and Cruz over 1.5, 2.5, or goes distance, which is out of character for you, but did really well. Jourdain Wright and Bruno Silva does not go the distance, and a Josh Emmett win. Your like'ems were Cruz, Jillian Robertson. The only miss you had was Miranda Maverick. You had Kai and Garbrandt does not go the distance, and Bruno Silva as a win. That's a good day.
That's not bad. I mean, that is like Nostradamus good.
That was a great performance. Did you parlay any of those, or you took them all straight?
No,
how did you kind of approach it?
I don't remember all of them. I'll have to go back. I parlayed. I had 3 or 4 different parlays on the love'ems, and I had 3 or 4. And actually, I did not. I parlayed probably everything in there except for the Blanchfield win. That one, I just didn't. I thought Miranda Maverick was going to win. I thought that hands down. I just didn't bet it. I don't know why. It just was like, I don't want to bet this, and I didn't. For some reason, that didn't make it into my parlays. Honestly, maybe as a mistake. Maybe I meant to do it, and I was, because I was super confident about that fight. I was 100% wrong, but maybe because I knew that the over was going to hit and I didn't find it necessary. But I did throw Bruno Silva on a win and Bruno Silva that fight not going the distance in different things as well.
Man, did we call it? I guess I get another week on the show because he won pretty easily, just like we said he was going to. And I said I was going to hang him up if he retired. We're good. We got at least another week, guys.
Yep. That was a solid call. And that was on you that Bruno Silva is going to win this. not going the distance either. And I agreed with that 100%. But honestly, it was a good week. I don't bet like you, but I definitely, made good money. And a lot of people who have commented on the Patreon and on Instagram actually afterwards was like, dude, I killed it. I killed it. So I love to hear that.
Man, it makes me so happy. All the people we told, hey guys, sign up for the Patreon. You're going to make your year's worth of Patreon dues in a week. And we're not just saying that just to say that to promote it. Like, I truly, truly believed it. And we have some great cards coming up this week. Now, if I can take you through kind of what I did.
Yeah. So are you talking about last week or are you talking about this week?
Yeah, last week.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Perfect. I thought you were going to move into next week already. I was like, no, hold on.
No, because last week was a really big week, and I don't want to let it go unsaid. So, and I know a lot of you guys really like how I'm honest with my wins, my losses. I like to be just upfront and honest with you guys. I don't do units. You're going to be shocked. All right, here we go. So we started off with Cage Warriors. The first day we crushed Cage Warriors. Everything hit, crushed Cage Warriors, like not a problem. Now, day 2, we did everything we could. So Bovada, which I really like for all the different lines that they have, has over 0.5 rounds.
I got to stop you really quickly. I love Bovada over all of the other books, and I wish we were getting money from them. So you guys, if we could get money, that'd be great. I love Bovada. I love their lines. Their stuff is out earlier, and it's the easiest interface to use. Like all of the other ones.
It's not pretty, but it's good.
It's not pretty, but it's good. You can parlay. Some of them don't let you parlay different bets. I just really prefer Bovada because a lot of you guys ask what books do we use. And Bovada does not limit the bets as much as a lot of the other books do. Do you
maybe not in your bracket. In my bracket, it is horrible.
Do?
That is my only complaint with Bovada is if they did not limit my bets, I would never need to go to another book. Here's another couple perks, guys. First of all, it's in Latvia, so it's offshore. Everything is through crypto, which is amazing. They have more lines than anyone. Like you said, they let you parlay, and really the system is easy to get around. All you have to do is change the bet by 1. So if you have a 3-fight parlay, drop one off or mix and match the order, they'll let you put it in again. So it's easy to beat.
Yep, I like it. Anyway, carry on. I just want to go off on a tangent on Bovada because I really prefer them to the other books, just interface wise.
Well, yeah, and who has an over 0.5 line? And half the time they're giving like minus 400 odds for it, which is the most insane.
Which is insane.
I mean, how many? So we did really well. Now, the very last fight of the night, the main event, there was a tough Brazilian against Dominique Wooding. I thought Wooding is kind of a slow starter and then picks it up as the fight goes. He sent this guy to the next universe, and we lost the last leg of that over 0.5, which was very unfortunate. Now, moving on to the LFA card. I did not love this LFA card. Now, this was kind of a crazy thing, guys. So some of you caught my Instagram live where I was talking about a glitch that I caught a few weeks ago where I ended up making 50 grand on the LFA card. So I hired somebody to drive on ice roads in Minnesota who has never seen an MMA fight in their entire lives to drive to some random Indian casino in the middle of Minnesota in a snowstorm. I paid them $200 to just watch prelims and live stream it for me. This was the craziest thing ever. 50 people counting on this person. And it didn't end up working out, but they had a time of their life watching stuff. And I actually ended up making about $11,000 on that LFA card.
Did you? Nice.
Billy Elikana. Billy Elikana. That one had all the technicals. Everything was beautiful there. I hit the against the basketball player, big man titties. I got him. I crushed that card without even looking. Tony Laramie looked phenomenal. That dude's a tank.
That was the only one on that card that I was just busy with fight stuff with Eric. I knew Tony. I slammed some money on him, and that was it.
Yeah, he's awesome, man. He's going to be one to watch in the future. Now, onto the UFC card. I'll keep it short and sweet, guys. So I posted plays that would have hit. My main parlay, I put $4,000 on Emmett, O'Malley, and Silva. And in the middle of the Emmett fight, I got so nervous. I saw him slowing down. I saw Ige starting to pick him apart. And I broke my own cardinal rule. If I make a bet, it's because I believe in it, and I stick with it. Hell or high water, that's what I stick with. And I cashed out my bet after the first round, after like the first round, because I did not trust Emmett. And what I did was I took out that bet, and then I put a $10,000 bet on O'Malley, Silva, and Nunes.
Who saw that coming, though?
I did. I called that at least 4 times during the day. Everyone's like, man, Pena sucks. This is going to be the easiest one ever. And I said, yeah, I know she sucks, but she's a cardio machine, and she's just tough. She sticks in there. Like, she does not die. I was like, I'm kind of worried about Nunes. We didn't spend a lot of time on it last week, but the closer we got to fight time, I posted it in our Telegram and our Discord. I was nervous about that fight, but I said, you know what? I'm just going to trust a history of excellence. She's minus 900. Let's just let it fly. Now, you real gamblers, you guys are going to be so proud of me. I did my first ever hedge.
Explain
my first ever hedge.
Explain a hedge.
Okay. So we had a Silva one, O'Malley one. I was on Nunes for the very last part of every parlay. I even picked up Lomachenko in the night. I picked up Jeff Neal. I was on fire, hitting everything. Nunes was the very last piece for me. If I won, I would have ended up making $25,000 last week between LFA and the UFC because I just had such volume on the bets. So for the very first time, I hedged my bet. You guys are so proud of me. I put $500 on Juliana Pena to win. So instead of a massive 15K loss, I still ended up at 8.5K for the entire week. So I lost like 3,000 from my LFA. I was negative on the UFC card, but I still ended the week up 8.5 thousand. That's a great week for me. I'll take it every time.
Cannot argue with that. That's solid. Especially the way it ended on the Nunes Pena fight. I mean, that was wild. So, man,
it gets you kind of cheering for the underdog. When you know that you're good either way, you're going to be profitable. You're kind of like, I like to see it.
Yeah, you can't argue with it. I like it. Well, man, anything else? I mean, what else do we have? I mean, we definitely, before we get into this week's card, or actually after we get into this week's card, because this is the last card before Christmas, last card really of the year until January 16th, UFC anyway.
We do have one last announcement before we kind of transition. So I think in the upcoming year, guys, we're really happy to bring you a lot of new content. One thing we're going to do is actually we're going to interview fighters, or not interview them, just chat with them. Bets, breakdowns. We're just going to talk to fighters. I think this is a really exciting thing, and it's going to be guys like Johnny Eblin, Kyle Bochniak, Dustin Jacoby, like all these awesome guys. So comment, let us know who you'd like us to talk to. I'm really excited to get that kicked off in the new year.
Yeah, I think that'll be a lot of fun. And, like Brandon said, let us know if you have anybody you want to chat with, because I'm pretty certain we can probably get a good amount of people chatting with us. But separate from that, like I was saying, we have Christmas coming up. So we're going to give you a Christmas present. This week's fights are kind of lame in terms of betting. There's a lot of close fights. There's a lot of fights that I don't really like in terms of throwing my money down, because they're either close or somebody is too unpredictable. And we talked about this last week or the week before. It was Louis Smolka. We were trying to bet a bad fighter, and Louis Smolka. We said it. We were watching tape and we're like, man, there's no way Louis Smolka wins this. We watch Morales and we're like, there's no way Morales wins this. And then we're looking at it and we're like, all right, Louis Smolka is a better of these bad fighters. And I wouldn't bet a bad fighter. And I don't mean that as a knock of him as a fighter. When I say a bad fighter, I mean a bad betting fighter. And an unpredictable fighter is a bad betting fighter. And Louis Smolka, for as good or bad as you think he is, he wins a lot and then he loses, and wins a lot, and he is unpredictable in the way that he fights. And you don't want to do that in terms of bets. So, so we have that. This card just isn't the best, most exciting card to go. So we've got some Christmas presents for you. And when I say we, I mean Brandan, who did a ton of tape on the regional card. And we're going to show you guys some regional bets, a couple of them, which we usually save for the Patreon. But it's Christmas, guys. So Merry Christmas.
We're in the spirit, baby.
We are in the spirit. Well, let's kick this card off. We are going to start from bottom to top. We're just going to touch on a lot of these guys. So not everything. I mean, first of all, these cards are just getting more and more and more fighters. This one has less than we've seen lately, and it still has 14 fights on the card. I don't really know if this is the actual fight card because things change, but this is the way it's listed on Tapology. So we're going to start down at the bottom. Matt Sayles and Jourdain Leavitt. Matt Sayles is 8-3. Jourdain Leavitt is 8-1. Sayles is out of, he's listed as being out of, what is,
he's out of a boxing gym now.
Yeah, but he was with Dom and them at Alliance. Jeez, I could not think of the name. Is he not at Alliance anymore? But Alliance is kind of, nobody's at Alliance anymore. It's not really much of a thing.
But the same group of people is still there. So I actually, guys, no capper goes farther than me for you guys. I actually dug to our good friend OJ. I said, "Hey OJ, how you doing, man? It's been a while." I said, "Hey, did you ever train with Matt Sayles, or why did he leave? When did he leave?" He told me that Matt left in 2018 before he even got there. So he has been gone a long time. Injuries, wanted to train elsewhere. He's been at Azteca Boxing for a while. I follow him on Instagram, weirdly enough. Out of all the UFC fighters, he's probably one of the first guys I ever followed. Clean hands, looks good, but no more Alliance.
No more Alliance. I read in an interview that he's been working on his wrestling and jiu-jitsu because he's been off for a while. When is his last fight? I mean, it's got to be close to 2 years, right? 2-3 years. His last fight, I'm pulling this up right as we speak.
2 years and two weeks.
And that is a lot of ring rust. I mean, that is a long, long time. He lost to Bryce Mitchell by Twister. That was in 2019, December of 2019. And you got to wonder, has anything changed? Has his wrestling gotten better? Has his jiu-jitsu gotten better? Because, I mean, Bryce Mitchell's wrestling is it's good. It is, and it's not traditionally good. It's MMA good, and there's a difference. So he's not like a phenomenal traditional wrestler, but he's good at what he does, and he finds a way to get the fight to the ground, and he's very effective in his wrestling. He sat Sayles down without even trying. I mean, he just sat him right to the ground, and that was a wrap. Ended up twisting him. Jourdain Leavitt is no Bryce Mitchell, but he is crafty and weird, and he kind of does the same thing. He finds a way to get these fights to the ground. He did it with Puelles. He got Puelles down a few times and had some positions, and then he kind of gassed him pretty hard. But what's your take on this? What's your take on Leavitt in relation to Bryce Mitchell and on the win here?
This was one of the most shocking ones that, like, on the whole card to me. And this is going to be the one we spend the most time on. That is like, do not bet this one. Don't go near it. But just stylistically, I'm really curious about this one. So here's a couple things. Matt Sayles is a clean striker. He's aggressive. He's technical. He's a nice striker. He does a lot of things well. And originally, when I had looked at this fight, I was like, please give me a reason to put every dollar I have on Matt Sayles against Jourdain Leavitt. And then I'm watching all of his fights, and he is not very good at defending takedowns. And not only is he not good at defending takedowns, is his jiu-jitsu is not very good. And so I'm watching this. I'm like, okay, here's a theme. Here's a theme. Here's a theme. And now he's fighting Jourdain Leavitt, who is very similar to Bryce Mitchell. And you're looking at the UFC going, okay, Sayles hasn't fought in 2 years. You know, he's not with Dom anymore, so they don't need to do him any favors anymore, right? It's like seems like obvious that they're trying to give Jourdain Leavitt the most winnable fight possible for his style and how he goes. It was crazy to me to figure that out. And in this matchup, I think I actually like Leavitt, and I hate to say that. I hate those words coming out of my mouth because I do not trust him. He's crazy and he's unpredictable. But here's the thing in the Puelles fight too. People do not give Puelles grappling enough credit. He actually looked great in that fight for what he was doing with the truck series, right? Every single time Jourdain Leavitt shot, he was hitting his truck series, coming up on top. And for those of you guys who don't know what the truck series is, he was kind of like grabbing his butt and like lifting him and coming up on top every time. That gets tiring when you have to shoot and shoot and shoot over again.
And you're ending up on the bottom.
Every time. It's tiring. Of course it is. I like the guy who's been more active. He's at a big gym. He's training with good guys. And his style is tailor-made for this matchup. I hate to say it, guys. I like Jourdain Leavitt in this matchup.
I have to agree with you 100%. And we talked about don't choose the bad fight, or don't choose the best of the worst. And not to say Jourdain Leavitt is the worst, but just in his last performance, you got to wash away a bad performance before you can really put stock into somebody again. And he had a really bad performance against Puelles in the sense where he just gassed so hard that really, it is the Randy Costa fight that we just saw with Tony Kelly. And he gassed in Adrian Yanez. And this one, I was not a big fan of Costa because we didn't know, he hadn't had a performance yet to where he proved that he had the cardio to continue. And that's where I'm at with Leavitt is, I don't think Leavitt's bad. His cardio issues in the last one, which whether they're actual cardio or they're actual adrenaline, it doesn't really matter. I want that taste washed away before, we
feel comfortable.
Exactly. That said, Sayles' kryptonite is wrestling and jiu-jitsu, and Leavitt is a really awkwardly weird wrestler and jiu-jitsu guy, and he's pretty dynamic. We saw what he did to Matt Wyman, where he just spiked him on his head, and that was a wrap. So, especially, and this is going to sound crazy too, they're good odds. They're actually good odds. I mean, we're looking at Leavitt at minus 121. That's not a bad go of things because I'm pretty confident.
You know what? And the thing with Leavitt too is he doesn't have to wrestle to take you down or to get it to the ground. He pulls guard and does Imanari rolls. He does anything just to create that transition. And sometimes Matt Sayles' IQ is not great. He's going to the ground with guys. He's getting caught in leg locks. He puts himself in bad positions often, even though his hands are good. And the thing I think about Leavitt is he's not a great striker, but what he does do is keep a nice high guard to avoid damage. He does kind of what you've always said to me is be good enough at striking to where you can just engage in the grappling. And that's kind of what he does.
Yeah. I cannot believe I'm saying this. I think Leavitt wins this fight.
Oh God.
We are moving up.
All right.
We are moving up. Like I said, we're not going to talk about all of these in depth. We've got Dontel Mays and Josh Parisian. And I mean, I think I like Dontel here, but this is not a solid choice either.
No, they both have critical flaws, and they're weirdly similar critical flaws. I mean, gas tank is a problem for both of them. Weirdly, Parisian probably has cleaner boxing, better hands, but Dontel is so much more athletic than Parisian.
And at heavyweight, that means a lot. Athleticism means a lot everywhere, but especially at heavyweight. If you have a good chin, and you have decent cardio, I mean, you're already ranked in the top 6 before you've ever had a fight.
Yeah, I'm actually interested in this fight. I'm hoping that it's not like a trick line because Parisian has just looked horrible in every single fight ever. I actually like Dontel here. I think he's way more athletic, way more dynamic. Watching his fight with Cyril Gane is, first of all, Cyril Gane is phenomenal. I mean, he is so insanely good for a heavyweight. And Dontel at least wanted to stand in the pocket and throw with him. Even if he lost 99% of the exchanges, he was there. He was throwing down. He was in it. And against Nascimento, he just got caught with the pressure and he got caught with the jiu-jitsu. I don't think Parisian possesses that jiu-jitsu. He is a big boy and he gets tired after one round. So it's weird. I could see this going to decision. I don't know. I like Dontel here, but I wouldn't put big money behind it.
Yeah, I like Dontel. I like his willingness to engage. And at heavyweight, I mean, you're already halfway to at that point, it's just a coin toss. And I think Parisian gets a little tired, like you said. And I think you get a little bit tired at heavyweight. Man, things can end early or they end up being that 3-round boring decision. Neither would really surprise me. A 4-minute KO, TKO stoppage for Dontel, or we're going 15 minutes, boys.
All right, moving right along. Next up, we got Raquel Pennington and Macy Chiasson.
Man, Raquel is so much better and tougher than I ever give her credit for. She's 12-8. Her last two fights, Marion Renault and Pani Kinzad, I can't even say that. Her boxing looks so much improved. And I don't know, maybe it's a record. She's 12-8. I just have a hard time. For some reason, I always sleep on her. But then you've got Chiasson, who's coming from Fortis, and she has got a good little string. I'm not sure. It seems like Fortis has had a string of bad luck lately. And I'm kind of wondering if they're always well conditioned, but I wonder if there's a skill set issue. And, or honestly, it could be there's too many people there. I mean, we have that at Fight Ready. We have that where, we're getting more and more and more people. At what point is it max capacity? We've seen that at Sanford MMA. Guys are just killing it. Everybody goes there. Guys continue to kill it, and then there's a big drop-off. I wonder if we're seeing that at Fortis. There's almost too many people coming out of there. There's too many people going there, which makes me really lean toward Pennington on this one. And I like her boxing, and I think she's honestly just getting better and better.
I don't know if you knew this, but Raquel was actually the first MMA fighter that I ever trained with.
Oh, you told me that
MMA.
Up in Colorado. Yeah, right?
Up in Colorado. So that was the beginning of my journey. Is the first time I ever trained MMA was with my uncle. He said, "Hey, do you want to go train MMA?" It was at a place called Altitude MMA, and we had Raquel Pennington, who was a nobody at the time. She was nobody. Nobody knew her. She wasn't even very good at the time. I always have a special place for Raquel for that reason. She will never know me. Like, we never actually trained together, but she was in the gym while I was in the gym, whatever. But her and my uncle were really, really good friends. I agree with you. I mean, let's look at her losses, right? So she lost to Tori Adams, who we don't know. Back in 2012, she lost to Kat Zingano, Leslie Smith, Jessica Andrade, split decision loss to Holly Holm, Nunes, Jermaine Durandamy, and Holly Holm again.
With a win over Misha Tate in there, a win over Irene Aldana in there, and then running
Betch
on
Correa,
yes.
Andrade. She beat Jessica Andrade.
Yes. I like Pennington here. She's battle tested. And like I said, I think her boxing is just getting better and better and better. Especially, let me see the odds here. Let's see.
She's a favorite, and she should be.
She definitely should be. I just can't find the odds right here. Minus 200.
I thought she was minus 200.
Minus 200.
Yeah.
I think those are good odds considering the situation and the fight. I like Raquel here.
I think Chiasson has a lot of holes in her game. Weirdly enough, I was going to pick Aspen Ladd against her both times they were paired up. After seeing Aspen Ladd in her last fight, I'm so glad I did not do that. But I like Raquel does more of the things that Aspen Ladd does well. She does those even better. So this is even better for me. I like Raquel here a lot.
I agree. Moving on up the ladder, Charles Jourdain, Andre Ewell. This is one of those fights that I don't want to touch. And this is the epitome of the card that I am not excited about. You've got these guys who both have some decent wins, who are both very tough. Andre Ewell has a win over Jonathan Martinez. And you're not big on Martinez. I think he is better than, people give him credit for, or you give him credit for. I do think he's tough. Andre Ewell has always struggled with, the people who will grapple him. You get Marlon Vera in the third round, who is taking him down, ground and pounding him. His loss to Nathaniel Wood, but he's got a win over Henan Barao. And now Henan Barao took a huge dive in a lot of areas, but he's got a win over Barao. He's got a win over Jonathan Martinez.
And Rick James, bitch.
He lost to Chris Gutierrez, Julio Arce, Marlon Vera, Nathaniel Wood. I mean, those are solid guys. And then on the other side of that, you've got Charles Jourdain, who lost to Julian Arosa as well. A split decision to Andre Fili and a decision to Des Green, who is really, really tough. He lost a decision to TJ Laramie. I think this is a pick-em. If gun in my head, I'm picking Ewell. I like his striking. He's long. He's rangy. And he's just kind of crafty. I feel like he's got just a good, solid jab. He moves well. And if I had to pick him, I'm going with Ewell on this. Do you have a thought on this, or?
I have a lot of thoughts on this. Man, we talked about this earlier. I was talking about who I like on this card in our Discord chat, and somebody was like, Jourdain. I cannot stand Jourdain. He is just the definition of an ape. And so, guys, my lingo here, when I don't like the way somebody fights, they fight like an ape. That's going to be my lingo from here on out. I think Jourdain, he gets so much credit for doing flashy things, and flashy things are not what win fights. It's fundamentals. It's fight IQ. He's throwing flying this and spinning that. I could never put any serious money behind Charles Jourdain, even if I think he's going to win the fight based on how he fights. I do the opposite with Andre Ewell. I always think that he's bad, and he's going to lose every fight, and he comes out and wins or gets a close fight, a close split decision. I don't even want to pick a winner in this fight. I'm not going to touch it, approach it, only on the fact that every time I think Jourdain is probably better than Ewell, but I just hate how that guy fights. I hate everything about Jourdain, not as a human being, just as a fighter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's small for the division. I think just a lot of things about Jourdain. I could never put anything serious behind him.
And Ewell is kind of long for the division. He has a 75-inch reach. He's long. He's gangly. He uses his reach well. He uses his footwork and his movement well. And outside of some flashiness, I don't know that he's going to get finished here. And it's not like Jourdain's some power wrestler is going to take him down and ground and pound him and find a submission.
And he's not the boxer that Julio Arce was either.
No, he's not. And I think Ewell wins this. I think he ends up probably winning a decision. And I think over here is not a bad bet. Over 1.5. You go to Bodog, you get over a half. I mean, that's a solid bet. Easy money, throw it on.
Yeah, great call. All right, moving on. What do we have next?
What do we have? I'm closing out the 500 tabs of Tapology that I have open.
Okay, this one I want to talk about.
Sarge.
We have Sajara.
Sarge.
Yeah, Sarge in charge. And then, we have Melissa Gatto.
I don't know much about Gatto. I know a good amount about Sarge. And what in the world, what on the planet, who cannot love Sarge? I mean,
the girlfriend that she had that she beat up, she probably doesn't like her.
That's true. But in betting, in MMA, I mean, you gotta love her. She knows what she's doing. She knows she's got to get the fight to the ground. Jiu-jitsu is solid. A lot of holes everywhere, but Sarge knows who she is. More importantly, we know who Sarge is as a fighter, and when it comes time to betting.
Now, do you have any leans on this? Hey, by the way, I'm just looking in the camera right now. Miss Tracy Cortez, every time I train with that girl, she busts up my eye, blacks my eye every single time. And this time was no exception. Look at that. All right. Anyways.
I can't see it. Like I said, Sarge, I don't think she is a world beater, but we know that she is going to shoot, try and get on top, and jiu-jitsu the hell out of you. And I'm not sure that happens here. Like I said, I don't know a ton about Gatto. If you ask me, I would say, yeah, Gatto's going to stop the shot and she's going to swing. She's going to stop the shot, get on top, and win a decision.
Okay, there you go. This is an interesting one. I like you were talking about, we need a full panel. I think when Sarge was fighting at 135, she had a ton of cardio problems. She was just honestly way too small for 35. She was kind of fat, like like, and not to be rude, just for
no, she had
fighting
extra
for the
weight. Like
division.
she could lose the weight and drop a division.
100%. Now she's six-packed out. She's shredded. She looks like she's finally, for the first time, taking fighting serious in her entire career, which is crazy. Then she was supposed to have a fight that got canceled, unfortunately. So now I don't know what 36-year-old Sarge, who's in shape, wants to fight, looks like. We saw her at 25 before, moved up to 35, looked okay, and now she's back down. Her only recent fight was against a girl who's an atom weight. So we don't have like a good, who is the new Sarge? Who are we looking at here? Now, Melissa Gatto is an underdog. She is 5'5", and Sarge is 5'4". This is a tough one. So here's kind of what I think happens, and maybe you guys tell me. Something about this is tricky. I want to choose Sarge every time. I love her style. I love who she is, but she has cardio problems. I think Melissa Gatto has tricky enough of a guard. She actually submitted Carol Rosa. She has long legs and tricky enough of a guard to fight off Sarge, I believe, for round one. I think she's going to lose round one, hands down. Sarge will eventually navigate the distance, take her down, and Sarge will win round one. Now, round two is going to be a lot different. This girl, Melissa Gatto, physically is very strong. She's got long punches. She's improving. I think round two is where it starts to get a little hairy, where Sarge starts to try for takedowns. Maybe Sarge ends up on her back. And I don't think Melissa Gatto is amazing. I think she makes bad decisions. So this is a battle of bad decisions versus bad cardio.
But with women in physicality and cardio, that's exactly it. When Sarge starts shooting, say that 5 times fast. So in that second round, those desperation shots, she gets a little tired. Now all of a sudden you have a physical jiu-jitsu girl on top of you who's going to stop that shot. And like you said, round one, she's not stopping the shot. I don't believe, but I don't think she's getting finished. And if Sarge is a little tired in round two, Sarge will shoot. And if she can't get where she wants, she's comfortable enough with her jiu-jitsu that she will stay on her back.
Yeah, I think this girl is just crazy and wiry enough. I think this is a great underdog pick here. I hate to not be able to pick Sarge in this spot because I love Sarge. She's near and dear to my heart, but I can see Sarge fading, especially at 125 pounds. I can see physical Gatto coming on, landing jabs, just getting in Sarge's face. Sarge takes a desperation shot and she gets caught with something, or she just gets beat up. Like, this is a fight that I can't put serious money on, but I'm kind of liking Gatto as an underdog.
I like Gatto as the dog, and the over 1.5 here is almost guaranteed.
Great pick.
Like, almost guaranteed. Yep. If you wanted to go over 2.5, I don't know if that's 1.5 is easy. 1.5 is easy money. You start pushing at 2.5, things get a little dicey. If you want to get risky, that you do the over 2.5. You want to play it safe, you do a round and a half, and I think it easily goes over a round and a half.
Agreed. All right, what do we got next?
Justin Tafa and Harry Hunsucker.
Hunsucker.
Hunsucker. Gosh, Tafa is one of those guys. I mean, these dudes, what do you call them? I mean, Samoans. I mean, he's from Australia, New Zealand, but native. I mean, is he a native to there? Is he a native Samoan? And they moved, like, whatever this nationality is. You get these large Australians, New Zealanders, like, think of Mark Hunt. I mean, that dude had a head the size of a car, hit as hard as could be, and I mean, he is always going to just be in your face swinging. Tafa reminds me of Hunt. I mean, who doesn't love watching short, massive Samoans throwing fists at people's faces?
That's awesome. Who was the boxer back in the day that was the Samoan guy? He's really famous. I don't know.
I'll think of it in a minute. I know who you're talking about.
Okay,
I'll look
all right,
it up.
once you get it. Now, this fight, man, This has one of those heavyweight disasters written all over it. So let me just start by saying this. Harry Hunsucker is horrible. He's horrible. He's got the worst cardio issues, the worst fight IQ, the worst everything. He's got no ground game whatsoever. I mean, he is not a UFC caliber fighter. I was so happy to take him in his debut. Who did he fight? Tai Tuivasa?
Yep.
Yeah, I could not wait for that. I was screaming from the rooftops like, guys, Tai is legit. And by the way, I got Tai on that last one. He looked great.
Yep.
But Harry Hunsucker is not good, guys. I mean, just the gym that he trains at, his style, nothing about him is good. Now, on the other end, you have Tafa, who I don't also think is a world beater. He's okay. Here's the issue with Tafa, is the way that he holds his hands. He almost holds them down here, and he'll take punishment. He'll get cracked 50 times. Big old Samoan head or whatever it is, right? He does get hit. So I think the safest way to play this one, guys, is does not go the distance, because it's either an early round 1 KO for Hunsucker swinging some wild bricks because Tafa is just too chill, too relaxed, or Hunsucker gasses himself out and then Tafa just smacks him around. I like Tafa here analytically and everything else skill-wise, but Hunsucker can always land one. That's why I'm saying this has heavyweight disaster. The safest play here is going to be not to go the distance.
That is Cody Garbrandt the last fight. Kai Kara France, you knew one of those two was going to sleep before 15 minutes was over. I love that bet here. It's not going the distance. I actually like Ty. I'm not sure if I'm going to bet him yet. I got to mess with the parlays and kind of move stuff around.
Yeah, Ty's not fighting, so.
Oh, geez, Ty, geez. I really like, I can't even speak over here, Tafa.
I like Ty too.
Yeah, I love Ty. I love the same person to me. I love Tafa. I like Tafa here in this fight. Like I said, I don't know if I'm going to bet him yet. I'll post it on the on the Patreon later. I think I like him. I think I like him to win this. I love the doesn't go the distance, which some of these, I mean, it's like we said, I mean, I hate to sound like we're giving cop-outs with goes the distance, doesn't go the distance. But a lot of these fights, especially on this card, betting a winner doesn't make sense. You just flip a coin and see who wins. And I mean, that's you may as well do that. So go to a craps table, throw it on red or black. You've got almost equal chance as you have on picking a lot of these fights.
I actually feel good here putting like medium money on Tafa. I mean, skills-wise, everything else-wise, he is heads and tails above Harry Hunsucker. All he has to do is not get hit for 2.5 minutes, and he's good.
Yep.
Yeah. So I feel okay putting medium money.
The next fight we have, I actually like. Really, I like the fight, but I like Raoni Barcelos, Raoni, whatever you want to call him, against Victor Henry. First of all, Barcelos, I mean, he is everything. He's everything. Like that guy, I mean, honestly, he lost to Valiev in a really good fight. That Khalid Taha fight was amazing, and he looked amazing. I mean, he beat Nurmagomedov. He beat Chris Gutierrez. He beat half my gym. He's got a win over Dan Moret. He's got a win over Bobby Moffitt. Even the guy right below that, Ricky Musgrave, has come and trained with us a bit. He beat him. Like, I am never fighting. Nobody I know will ever fight Barcelos. I'll say no to that. Everybody will be injured from here on out. Skill-wise, I mean, he has everything. He's the guy. I mean, Valiev, I mean, hats off to him. But, man, Barcelos is so tight with his guard, so smart with his movements, so dynamic. He's fast. He is everything. He's a guy that you bet on. That is a guy that you bet on, especially when he's fighting, who is his opponent? Victor Henry. Who's got a lot of experience. He's 21-5, a ton of experience over in Japan. I mean, he must have 20 fights. Over there in Japan. His most recent fight, one of his most recent fights, Masanori Kanehara, who he's got a win over. That was a solid fight, solid win. He's got a win over Kyler Phillips, but that is also...
That was Kyler being Kyler.
that was Kyler being Kyler. That was Paiva having a win over Kyler Phillips. Kyler Phillips is so amazing, such great technical skill, such great athleticism, such great everything except for fight IQ. And he just doesn't know how to manage. He is Derrick Lewis, who we'll get to later, before Derrick Lewis realized that he had to manage his cardio in certain situations. Like, I really like Kyler, but man, he can make some bad decisions. And if he doesn't win, he's in trouble. And that was this fight. That was when he fought Victor Henry. Henry is a clean-ish striker. He's a clean striker. I would say he's a clean striker. He's not a world beater.
Yeah.
Yep. He does the right stuff. He's not overly dynamic. He's not overly fast. He doesn't hit overly hard, but he does all of the right stuff. I mean, that said, his wrestling is non-existent, especially his defensive wrestling. His jiu-jitsu is not bad. He does throw submissions, but I don't think it's anything that Barcelos is going to have to worry about. And honestly, just the way that Barcelos fights, so tight, Henry's guard is a little loose. It's a little wide. He reaches with his punches. He's a little bit square. I think Barcelos is just the tighter fighter everywhere. And I say it all the time. It's generally the fighter who screws up first is going to lose. And I think Barcelos is just technically sound. Cardio-wise, he's great. He does the right things. And I think little by little by little, I think Victor Henry looks solid for a round. I think he's going to go out there and look decent for a little bit. And whether it goes the distance or whether you get stopped earlier, little by little by little, Barcelos is going to start chipping away, landing more. And I think in that third round, if it makes it that far, I think it's a complete Barcelos situation. And I think you could go, I don't know if I would choose over or under on this one, because
just take him straight up.
Exactly. Take Barcelos straight up. It doesn't matter if he wins in 1 second or with 1 second left. He's going to win this fight.
You hit everything on the head. As a matter of fact, right, the last few weeks for my list has been brutal. So I'm burning my list, and it's just going to have Raoni Barcelos on it. This guy is, man, he is everything that every fighter aspires to be. Not only is he fought insanely tough competition his entire way, he checks every single box. Now, this is something that somebody mentioned to me earlier today, actually. They said, man, but I wish his volume was greater. That's the difference between being a fighter or being a coach at a high level and knowing what you're looking at. His volume was low against Timur, who moves constantly, who's always feinting, who's always doing something, throwing something out there. Of course his volume's going to be lower. It's not that he's getting tired or he's coasting. He's trying to figure out his opening. He's trying to download the information. He's trying to see where he can attack from. I can't remember if it was the second round. He caught him. He found it. He got it. And then he went tired trying to finish it, right? And we've talked about that a lot too. You go watch that Khalid Taha fight and you tell me that there's another 35er on earth that can beat him. I mean, it's funny, that fight was two unranked guys, and Anik was talking about TJ Dillashaw and Corey Sandhagen and all these guys watching the fight going, man, look who we got to fight soon. They were not even ranked at the time. That just shows you how phenomenal he is, that he's getting attention from the top 2-3 guys in the world. He checks every single box. Now, two things I just want to highlight. So first and foremost, the way to beat Raoni is to take the fight to Raoni. It's to be a Timur who's going to throw everything, feint, keep him guessing. If you try to fight technical and pretty on the outside, that is going to be a brutal day for you. And Victor Henry is not a major power guy. He stays on the outside. He tries to be pretty, tries to be technical. The first thing that I see going is that calf kick. Raoni's calf kick is out of this world. A lot of times he's tripping people and knocking them down with the calf kick. Victor Henry is open to that all day, every day. Raoni's made of dinosaur bones. He's made of the same dinosaur bones as Jose Aldo. Like, this is the same, like, they look like they're 85. They just look like they have to, like, crawl out of bed. Like, it's insane. But they're so good. He's so agile for actually how he looks that he is. His jiu-jitsu is beautiful. His wrestling, he was on the Brazilian national team for wrestling. I mean, he checks every box. I think his cardio is good for the style that he fights. And again, I want that to be clear. For the style that he fights, I think his cardio is good. His fight IQ is brilliant. His wrestling is out of this world. He checks every box. Late replacement fight. Like, don't overthink this one, guys. I'm going to empty every savings account I have, and I'm going to throw it on Raoni right here.
The knock with Raoni, if you can say that, is he's been injured. He's injury prone. He's had some injuries. He hasn't fought. He hasn't been as active as he would like to be because of injuries. And outside of that, what else do you say? What else do you say about Raoni Barcelos?
I just wish he was 5 years younger. I mean, I want more time with Raoni. That's the saddest part to me, is that we're probably never going to see him fight for a title, and not because of skill. It breaks my heart.
Yeah, he's 34. I mean, look at his canceled bouts in 2021 alone. Between 2020 and 2021, he's got 3 canceled bouts from injury. He's supposed to fight Cody Stamen early in 2020, had to pull out. Sednar Magomedov supposed to fight Boston Salmon in 2017, Kevin Aguilar in 2017, but injuries. Man, if this guy can stay healthy, I mean, he is going to the top. I mean, that Timur fight, and Valiev is that good as well. So
he is that good as well.
Yeah, I love Barcelos here, and don't overthink this one, guys.
All right, next up, we got Gerald Meerschart versus Dustin Stolzfus.
This one, I can't get behind Meerschart. I want to like him. He does a lot of stuff well. He's a jack of all trades. He's got some decent jiu-jitsu. You know, of course, it is very good in terms of things. There's an inconsistency about him that I can't really, I just can't get behind him. What is your thought on Meerschart?
Okay, on Meerschart specifically.
Yep, just specifically
again,
Meerschart.
I wanted to back up the Brinks truck because of how I felt about his opponent. As I'm watching Meerschart, every time he throws, his chin is going straight up in the air. He's clashing. I don't know how he hasn't been knocked out almost every fight he's been in.
More fights.
I was hoping he was going to be this clean, beautiful Rufus Sport striker. I was like, okay, maybe his kicks will be great. Maybe his wrestling is sick. He hangs around until somebody else messes up. But his chin is up in the air. His striking is not as clean as I would like it. I mean, it's not super clean. His wrestling is not great. Now, he is tricky on the ground. He has solid jiu-jitsu.
You know, and Stolzfus' jiu-jitsu is good as well. He's a jiu-jitsu guy. Is he Polish? Where's he from? I
think Germany.
Germany, okay. It lists Pennsylvania. So born Lancaster, Pennsylvania. All right. So I am completely off on that. But so he just doesn't I'm losing my train of thought. Stolzfus is, he's a grappler as well. But at least his chin isn't in the air. He doesn't throw like these haymakers. I don't know, Meerschart, like I said, you said it. He Homer Simpson stuff. Meerschart Homer Simpson stuff. He just takes a beating. He tries to just be there for when somebody screws up or gets tired. And you can't bet that. I can't bet that. It's Louis Smolka all over again. And I feel like Meerschart can win this. And I'm not betting this. I'm not touching it. I don't have an interest in this fight. And I just... Meerschart again, unless he's fighting somebody good. I think if I ever bet Meerschart again, it's going to be to lose.
That's not a bad call. The thing, I was just so excited about Meerschart on this one. I was like, man, he's an ultra veteran. I love these ultra veteran guys. The thing about Dustin is he does nothing. Dustin does nothing. He got jabbed to death by Rodolfo Vieira, who's not a striker, right? At all. Is a cardio liability. He just got torn up on the feet by Rodolfo Vieira, right? His
now that said, all right.
So
that said, Vieira looked a lot better in that fight. His stand up,
he did.
His stand up actually looked good. He's actually training with Pitbull's karate coach down in Florida now. Vieira is. And his movement looked better. His jab looked better. His striking looked better. That said, I mean, even with that,
Stolzfus should have had better.
Yes,
than that.
Stolzfus landed some good. Stolzfus landed decently against a pure jiu-jitsu guy. And he had his moments, but again, Vieira definitely looked better. And Stolzfus had, I mean, again, he's taller than Vieira, who might be 3 feet tall. I mean, he might be the shortest, right? I mean, is Vieira like 5'8"? I feel like he's the tiniest person.
But
in
he's
the division.
massive, yeah.
Yeah, he's as wide as he is tall. But Vieira definitely looked much, much, much improved. Cardio did not look much improved, but Dustin's cardio didn't seem like it was too much better. Maybe it was just because he got hit a little bit than Vieira's, though.
I just think Dustin does nothing. He's constantly getting backed up to the cage. His wrestling's not phenomenal. He's not a crazy jiu-jitsu guy. He's not this insane striker. He just does nothing. And so I want to say I like Meerschart here. I want to. We're going to see how the Rayoni fight goes, but I would stay so far away from this one because I can see Meerschart getting KO'd at any period in time. But if you look at Meerschart's wins, I mean, he's got actually really good wins.
He's got decent wins, and then he just will get these bad losses. And I could see this as being one of those. He beats the guys he should lose to, and he loses to the guys he should beat. And I feel like
Look at this. Split with Eric Anders, split with Kevin Holland. Like, he is in every fight.
He's there. And then you see him get one punch by Hazmat, whatever. And you're like, what the hell was that? Just chin up, moving around. And Dustin's no world beater, but gosh, he'll at least swing with his chin tucked a little bit. And if Meerschart leaves it up, I don't like the fight. And honestly, I wouldn't touch this. I don't even who's betting this fight. His people's friends. Otherwise, I don't know that. Like, is anybody on the planet going, man? I cannot wait for that Meerschart fight to come up. Stay away from it. Don't overthink it. We've spent too much time on this. It really is an uninteresting bet.
All right, next up, Darren Elkins, Cub Swanson.
I love this fight. I love this fight. I love this fight. I want to love Darren Elkins. I want to. He is that tough grinder, mean, just son of a bitch, man. Watching him with just that, I think his last fight was Minner. Yep, Derrick
Minner.
And man, Minner is a one-round world beater, man. That dude is out there, and he is fast and dynamic, and his jiu-jitsu is really good. We saw him just lose to Ryan Hall, but he did better than I think I've ever seen anybody else do in jiu-jitsu with Ryan Hall. But you've got he's got to win over Minner. He's got to be my age. He's 38. I think he's 37. All right. Elkins, but then he's got a string of losses. Nate Landweller, Ryan Hall, Ricardo Lamas, Alexander Volkanovski. Like, those are all solid, fighters. Then he's got a win over Michael Johnson, Dennis Bermudez, Mirsad Bektik, Pepe Chaskelly, Robert Whitford. And that is a solid little streak. The issue with Darren Elkins is he is slower than plate tectonics are forming new continents faster than Darren Elkins is walking across the cage. And we just saw the zombie girl the last fight, right? Just walk in, zombie it up. Man, Darren Elkins, if Chain Sung Jung is a Korean zombie, then Darren Elkins is the Indiana zombie. Like, that dude is just walking forward through cornfields. He is in people's nightmares. But he's just so fucking slow. He's just so slow. And Cub Swanson is as old as Darren Elkins, I believe. I believe he's the exact same age. Let's see. 38. He's actually slightly older. He lost to Giga. He beat Daniel Pineda in kind of a decent fight, beat Kron Gracie. And then he's losing to these dynamic fighters, Burgos, Moicano, even Frankie Edgar, who's not overly dynamic, but he's much faster than Darren Elkins, and then Brian Ortega. I want to like Darren Elkins here. I want to like Darren Elkins. I just don't know if his slowness if I can get by that. But Cub Swanson, on the other side of that, he is one of those guys that can find a way to lose a fight. he will be winning a fight. I love his boxing. It is so clean. His movement, his jab, his speed is great. His jiu-jitsu's not bad either. I mean, his jiu-jitsu's pretty solid. His wrestling
really
is definitely his weakest point. And can he close out Darren Elkins in the first 3 minutes of round one? Because if he doesn't, I think Darren Elkins grinds on Cub and finds his way in, and I think he gets a decision win or a late third round stoppage.
I am going to disagree with you here. I like Cub. I like the speed. He's another ultra vet, and that's why I wanted to talk about Meerschart, but I think he's got all the skills in the world. I think Cub is one of the most skilled guys. You're right. He finds ways to lose fights instead of win them. But like we talked about, it's all these dynamic, young strikers. He has been kind of used as the chess piece for years by the UFC. If you beat him, you get to level up. You beat him, you get to level up, right? These young guys. One thing I loved, and you know, you had run us through these drills before, right? Kind of like the circling out to escape takedowns. The way that Cub circles around the ring, it's beautiful because it doesn't let him be still for Elkins to shoot. And all I see happening is Cub circling, popping him, circling again, popping him. And I think he can do it for 3 rounds if he needs to. I think Elkins gets rocked in every single fight. What's to say finally someone can put him out? I think Cub is one of the more dynamic people that Elkins has fought as of late. I think he's an ultra veteran. I think he's got great jiu-jitsu. I think he's got all the skills in the world to close out Darren Elkins. I like Cub a lot here.
Looking back, we got Ricardo Lamas. That was Elkins' last stoppage loss. That was in 2018. I would say he's probably his most similar fight up until that point. But I mean, even then, I mean, he's going the distance with Volkanovski. I mean, that alone. That said, Ryan Hall rocked him a couple times with spinning kicks. I think the smart money is probably on Cub, and I think I'm going to throw some money on Elkins. I don't know why. I like Elkins here.
It's never a bad bet.
I'm going against the grain. I like the dog in Elkins, and I'm going with Elkins on this.
All right. What do we got next?
Now, we've got Diego Ferreira and Gamrot. Mufias Gamrot. And these are, gosh, this is such a solid matchmaking. You know, really, I mean, Ferreira is tough. He's got 2 close fights with Benny Dariush. He's got a win over Pettis. He's got a win over Tsaimov, Rustam Kaibalov. I mean, these are good, tough wrestlers. And then you have Gamrot on the other side, who's a good, tough wrestler. I mean, Ferreira looked, and even Ferreira looked really solid in his fight with Gregor Gillespie. Did you see that? Did you tape the Gillespie fight?
Wow.
He looked great. And Gregor Gillespie just didn't, I mean, man, Gillespie went back in that corner and was dead tired between round 1 and 2. And so was Ferreira. And Gillespie was like, let's go get more tired. And he did not give a shit. And he was just down to go get tired. And it is hard.
He did more in the second round when he was tired than most people do in the entire fight when they're fresh. It was crazy.
It was wild. Who have you ever seen that is that tired that's like, dude, I'm going to go redline this? And just hats off to Gillespie on that. I don't know that Gamrot is going to put that type of pace. I'm leaning toward Ferreira here. I like him. I think it's solid. I think without that Gillespie pace, I think he wins this fight. I think he's a little bit of a dog. I don't think it's a huge dog. We've got a little bit. I mean, Gamrot's at minus 200. Ferreira's at plus 162. Who do you got on this? I'm sure you taped this more than I did. I like the fight. I really do. It interests me. I think I like Ferreira here.
You know what's funny is everybody thinks they're so crazy sharp. Everyone thinks they're so sharp. All of you guys think the same thing. It's not, you're not doing something different. You're not breaking the trend by saying, oh, Gamrot, like I found one. There's something off about this fight, and it's the odds, right? How old is Ferreira? He's 36 or 38, something like this.
Yep, 36.
Okay, and Gamrot is at ATT. He's young. He's 30, 32, something like that. Like he's in the prime of his career. The UFC is clearly trying to build Gamrot. And the odds are at minus 200 for a 36-year-old versus a guy who's in the prime of his career. What is he, 16-1? Like crazy record. Something is off about this line here. I don't like this matchup for Gamrot. At first, when I looked at this card, and that's what I mean, everyone looked at this card and go, Gamrot is a lock. I'm so sharp. Gamrot is a lock. I don't think he's a lock. Like, this is a very tough fight for him. The way that Diego Ferreira wrestled against Gregor was, wow. I could not believe it. It was insane. His jiu-jitsu was phenomenal. And Gregor is one of the rare people that has very good jiu-jitsu with elite wrestling. You never see the two mix. I mean, he's taken, Diego's back. He was doing all kinds of stuff. Diego is good. I think what this turns into is maybe a striking fight. And I do not like the Polish strikers. I don't know why. I do not like the Polish strikers. They have like these weird, like mashed muscles. I don't know what it is. They're like very loopy and floppy. Diego's kind of solid. He's been getting better all the time. I mean, everything on paper is telling me Gamrot. Like you have to just go Gamrot. He's solid everywhere. He's a decent striker. He's just solid everywhere, and he's younger. But there's something off about the line. I would be very careful of this fight. First, I was going to slam it, and now I'm debating if I even want it.
Yeah, I think if I pick a winner, it's going to be Ferreira. And I think definitely over 1.5 is almost guaranteed with this. So there's a way to make money. I don't think it's going to be finished early, but I think Ferreira gets the upset. You think it'll go early?
I have no idea. That's the thing. Is like this fight could, Gamrot could be arrogant and shoot on him and then get submitted. I mean, there's a million things that can happen. Ferreira's also 36, so he could get KO'd. I mean, there's so many things that could happen. I think this fight, for anybody to be calling this one a lock. Now, I will say this. Gamrot is somebody you would feel comfortable putting your money behind. I can feel comfortable putting my money, big money, behind somebody like Gamrot and still not think they're going to win the fight or still think that they have a tough fight ahead of them. Those are two completely separate things. He is dependable, but the matchup is tough. I would stay away from this fight unless you're up on Raoni Barcelos.
Next up, we've got this, I think, is my favorite fight to watch of the night. Is Rafael Assuncao and Ricky Simón. And actually, before we get to this, how many people have we talked about age today? There are a lot of older people on the card. This is like the geriatric card. I mean, we've got Stephen Thomson coming up, who's old. We've got Rafael Assuncao, old. Just talked about Diego, and we're talking about in fight years old. Diego Ferreira, 36, Darren Elkins and Cub Swanson, older. Let's see. Just I feel like we talked about a couple other oldies earlier, but anyway, just kind of an old
Sarge.
Yeah,
Raoni.
Sarge. Yeah, Raoni's not crazy old. He's 34, but
he's on the border.
Yeah, he's on the border. But Rafael Assuncao and Ricky Simón. This is the fight that I taped the most. I couldn't get a read. There's too many variables in this one. And so I just kept watching tape. We've talked about it. Ricky Simón does so much stuff right. He wrestles well. He's aggressive. He has cardio. I mean, his jiu-jitsu is not bad. He'll attack, some submissions. It's not world beater.
I actually think his jiu-jitsu is some of the best in MMA.
You think so? I don't think it's some of the best, but I like it. I like what he goes for and how he goes for stuff. He'll roll for necks, and then if he doesn't get it, he comes back up. I like him. His striking is good.
Getting better.
It's getting better. He throws a lot. He's very aggressive. My worry with him is that he likes to get punched. He gets punched way too much for what he should. And the reason why he gets punched, it's twofold. His head's on center line. He's not moving his head off balance and offline to do it. And then he blitzes forward so much that he's running into stuff. If somebody just happens to throw as he's doing stuff, they're probably going to land. On the other side of that, you have Assuncao, who is older now. He's 38. He's on a 3 or 4 fight losing streak, but all to top competition. He glides effortlessly between stances. He does a really good job of backing up and switching stances and drawing people in and countering them and landing punches on the way. His wrestling is good. His jiu-jitsu is good. I worry that he's gotten slow in his old age. If you watch his earlier fights, he's leaner. Of course, everybody at 33 is leaner than they are at 38. But yeah, he's making the same weight limit, but his body composition looks different. He's carrying more fat. He looks heavier. He looks slower. His movements are a little bit more cumbersome, and he starts reaching with his hands more. He's reaching a little bit more. He's a little bit less confident with his hands. That said, if this was 5 years ago, I would pick Assuncao probably just hands down, stylistically. I love it. He's fought the tougher opponents. Ricky Simón has not fought anywhere near the level of competition that Assuncao has. I think I see this. I think I'm leaning towards Simón on this one for just youth. I think Assuncao is Darren Elkins at this point. And what I mean by that is he's been there a long time. He's fought a lot of good people. He's hard to put away. But I don't know that the speed, the cardio, the explosiveness, the power, those things that you have as a young athlete are going to be there. And I think this comes down to nothing more than age. I think that Assuncao is probably the better fighter almost everywhere. But I think we see Father Time catch up. And I think just nothing more out of activity and cardio. I think we're going to see Simón pull out the dub here and pull out a new mullet.
Yeah, I think Ricky's amazing. I've never seen somebody wrestle that hard for that long in any one fight. I mean, Ricky is he's the man. He's game. He's always in your face. I think he's just going to put such a big pace on Assuncao, even if he can't get the first takedown or the second or the 10th takedown. When he gets the 11th, that's brutal and it's demoralizing. And then he's going to get 12 and 13 and 14 and 15 until Assuncao is out of there. And Ricky Simón's jiu-jitsu, I know you said it's not world class. I think his jiu-jitsu is some of the best in MMA. I think his decision-making is some of the best in MMA. My only concern here, I will take Ricky on everything else, this stage of the career or not. The only thing is exactly what you said, is he gets hit so much and he likes to firefight. My only problem with Ricky Simón is he's trying to prove a point. And I don't like people who try to prove points, because Ricky's wrestling is so good and his cardio is unmatched. Like literally the only other guy who matches up to him is like Merab Dvalishvili, who he's got a win over, right? Close or not, he got the win.
I don't know.
I know. Hey, I know. I totally know. But those are the two guys, and those are going to be insane styles to try to beat. I mean, just the pressure, the magnitude of what he brings. This is clearly, UFC setting him up to shine or to fail. And this is his dividing line. I think he passes the test with relative ease. All he has to do is not get clocked big. He can get hit to get his takedowns, and then he's going to put just the insane grind on Assuncao. I like Simón a lot here.
I like Simón, and he's got a chin on him. I mean, he does get hit. Outside of that Uriah Faber, we really haven't we've seen him get clipped, but we've never really seen him just mauled, just in terms of striking. But it's hard to maul somebody when they're trying to wrestle you or just be in your face and brawl you, and not in a sloppy, loopy way. Just let's go. He is a fighter. He's a Mexican style fighter. Hands up, in your face, going. He is not sticking and moving. No Philly roll. He's 100% gas. I like him here. I think the over's a good one as well. Over a round and a half. I don't see this one going to being finished before a decision. I see it going the distance. It's always hard to choose a distance, but definitely over 1.5, maybe over 2, maybe over 2.5. And I like Simone for the win here.
All right. Let's get down to brass tacks. We get the last few fights here.
Amanda Lemos, Angela Hill. I love Amanda Lemos. I love her. She is, and she's older too. I'm looking right now. She's 34. And again, just in fight years, she seems taller than she is for the division. She's listed at 5'4". Man, she seems tall. She fights long. She's got power. She's got speed. She is athletic. She's dynamic. I really, really, really like her. My issue is she will slow down a little bit, and Angie Hill is a cardio machine, and Angie Hill is, she is a pinball. She is left, right, in your face gone, like all over the place, every which way you can get, and she has experience for days. And, she's got a split decision loss to Claudia, which I thought she won. She's got a split decision to Michelle Watterson, and the Tesha Torres fight. She has a decision loss to Tesha Torres. And if I believe, I have to go back. I thought she won that one. She is tough. She did not win the Tesha Torres fight. No, is it the Claudia one that I'm thinking?
Yep, she got smoked in the Tesha Torres fight, but the other ones were close.
Okay. I like her. She moves well. The thing that I worry about with her here is just physicality. We talk about it so much with women. There is such a discrepancy between the physicality, the strength, the athleticism of women. And although Angie Hill is very fast, she's quick to me. She's quick, if that makes sense. I feel like Lemos is legitimately dynamic and explosive and fast. If Angie Hill is moving and touching, and she's a mosquito to a wasp. I really like Amanda Lemos here. I worry about the cardio a little bit, and then just the decision making a little bit, and the veteran status. But I really think that Amanda Lemos is going to have a solid showing here. And I think she's going to put on a dominant performance.
I'm trying to think. There was a fight. It couldn't have been too long ago. We had this crazy powerhouse Brazilian girl, and she lost to this veteran cardio machine. I can't even remember if somebody can drop it in the comments, please.
I can't think of any woman, a Brazilian woman, power puncher, right? We're talking power puncher? Physical, athletic.
Yeah, years of dominance.
Years of
dominance.
Physical power puncher. Big for the division. Nothing's ringing a bell. But
yeah, nothing's ringing a bell. Okay, anyway, so then we'll just get right to this one. From our Bible, right? Our Bible that we went over, we always pick fight IQ and cardio, which Angie Hill is both of those things tenfold over Lemos. That being said, I was hoping to find a weakness with Lemos. Her striking is unbelievable. It is unbelievable how fast she punches, how clean and crisp her hands are. Man, I wish I could pick Angie. I really want Angie to win. I will say this. I don't think Angie's a bad underdog pick, and here's why. Lemos had a fight, so she was fighting at 35 for a while, which I don't know how that came about because she is not very big. Leslie Smith put it on her. That was a horrible, horrible fight for her, right? But her fight against Mizuki Inoue. Mizuki is same style as Angie. She just kept coming forward. She was pushing her against the cage. She took her licks. She got dropped in the first round. Second and third, she just came forward, pushed her on the cage. I think Angie Hill is a way better version than Mizuki Inoue. She's going to throw punches. She's going to tag her up. She has great fight IQ, amazing cardio. I think she can put her against the fence. I think Angie's a great dog here. I cannot resist Lemos. I think she's got a star quality about her. I think it's kind of like we talked about with Muniz and Eric Anders. Anders is awesome. He's solid. He's a veteran. He's got skills everywhere. But Lemos is seeming to come into that time where she's got that star quality, and that counts for something. Her striking is too beautiful.
The other thing about Lemos is this is a complete intangible. All right, I guess all these things are intangible, I guess, if you want to think of a definition of the term. But Angie Hill is 13-10. I mean, that's barely over 500. She knows how to lose. Lemos is, I think, 10-1, with her only loss being at 135. She doesn't know how to lose yet. Yes, she's lost, but take the better fighter. The better fighter generally wins. Even in these very close fights, they will find a way to win. And I think even if this is a very, very, very close fight, I think Lemos is going to find a way to win in those tiny little moments that add up to finding a victory. And I think she pulls away with this one. And I think it's a dominant, unanimous decision, if not a finish. But, you know, even if she does,
I think it could be a finish or 2-1 easy.
Yep. Or if she ekes it out, but I think she's going to find a way to win. She is just so damn dynamic, and her striking is so clean, and she scares the shit out of me. We are back. I look different. Sorry, my camera battery died, and so I had to go back to my regular webcam. If you guys know how to turn a Canon 5D Mark IV into a webcam without it turning off, let me know, because that's a pain in the ass as well. And then, of course, I just have to get a different battery pack. But Lemos, and I'm always going to say that with a SH because I don't know, because I feel like I heard him say it once with an SH, and I feel like all Portuguese S's are shushes. So, again, I think Lemos wins this. I like Angie Hill. She does all the right stuff. But I think Amanda is a girl who's going to fight for a title at some point, or at least be in the top 3, 4, 5 of the division. And she knows how to win. She knows how to win. And Angie Hill has 10 losses. I don't see somebody with 10 losses. She's 13-10. It's almost a 500 record. I feel like Lemos' only real loss is up 2 weight classes. And I think she's dynamic and gritty and is going to keep finding a way to win until she fights the top 5.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on this one. I think we both like Lemos here. Yep, she's just too dynamic, too good. I think she finds a way to get the win here.
I mean, that's all there is to say. I think pick Lemos for the win. I don't know if I like an over or under on this. Angie Hill is very hard to finish, but she is. Gosh, she's hard to finish. She's hard to finish. But I think this is going to be a dominant performance by Lemos, and it wouldn't surprise me if she got a finish. I don't know if I'd put my money on it, though.
All right. What do we have next? Co-main event time.
We have Belal Muhammed and, Stephen Wonderboy Thomson.
Wonderboy.
Yeah, I don't know why. I knew it was Stephen Thomson. For some reason, Belal Muhammed sounded weird to me. And I was like, am I mispronouncing something? What am I doing here?
I think you mispronounce almost every name, and that's part of the charm.
Oh, my gosh. I cannot pronounce my own name. I actually don't. I'm not kidding when I say this. I actually mispronounce my own name and the way that everybody in my family has ever said my name, because it's phonetically easier and it takes less time for me to explain what my actual name is. So here's a little tidbit, people. Growing up, my father always called me Santino. Both of my sisters call me Santino. And I say Santino. I enunciate the A versus ah. And the reason is, my whole life, people ask me what my name is. I'm like, oh, it's Santino DeFranco. And they're like, what? I'm like, Santino. Is that S-O-N-T-I? I'm like, no, S-A-N-O, Santino. And so now I phonetically say Santino so people know what the hell I'm saying. So if I'm going to mispronunciate my own name, I sure as shit am going to mispronunciate a bunch of random names who are fighters. That's where I'm at.
All right, fair enough. So Belal Muhammed. Hey, let's keep this one short and sweet. I mean, At the end of the day, I think everyone's maybe in the same boat. People underrate Bilal a lot. I think he's a lot better than people think that he is, but I think almost the overwhelming majority is on Stephen Wonderboy here. His movement, his style, his striking, it is just so complex. It is so hard to get ready for. I think the majority of people are on Wonderboy, and I think for very good reason. What say you?
I think you're 100% right. I think we saw the Bilal Muhammed fight play out in a very short fashion with Leon Edwards. Bilal did not know what to do. He looked lost in there. Muhammad's a guy who comes forward, hands up, wants to get in your face, wants to create a brawl, wants to grapple a little bit. He's a tough guy, and I think that's why he doesn't get the credit that he deserves. Is he's more of a grinder, and he's winning decisions. He's not this dynamic guy who is just starching people. He came at Edwards, hands up, kind of jabbing a little bit, right hook, left hook, and was just swinging and missing. Edwards just really had his number, was olaying him, was landing some beautiful left kicks. And honestly, I think he really just his distance and his movement were really hard for Muhammad to handle. Then you add Wonderboy in, who's 38, but he just had a really good performance against Gilbert Burns. He is still tough. He still has fight. I don't think his chin is gone. And I think his movement and his distance is going to be even harder than Leon Edwards. And Muhammad doesn't have this crazy power. He doesn't have this crazy wrestling. I don't know how he gets in there. I don't know. He's not going to get finished, but I see Stephen Thomson just kind of picking him apart for 3 rounds and it not being an overly exciting fight, but a rather dominant fight.
Yeah, I'm totally on board. I agree 100%.
And now that's it. That's it. We've got the main event. We've got Derrick Lewis, Chris Daukaus or Kyle Daukaus. Jeez, why are these people the same? They're the same person, different weight class. They look the same. They fight the same. They move the same. They sound the same, and they have the same damn last name. We've got
It's almost like they're
Daukaus.
brothers or something. Yeah.
Right. You would think so, but it's just a similarity in name. They're definitely not brothers. We've got Chris Daukaus on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fight win streak. We've got Derrick Lewis coming off a Cyril Gane, a loss. We talked about this earlier because I was doing an ESPN interview and I asked you, I wanted to get your thoughts on this fight before I went on ESPN and sounded like a moron. And I said, what do you think about this? And you said, well, I think the whole world is going with Daukaus and he's a favorite. Like, where are you going with that? And I was mind blown. I was the mind blown emoji. I could not believe that Derrick Lewis was a dog here. And because I'm thinking, how in the hell does Daukaus win this? How does he win this? He doesn't have Daniel Cormier wrestling. He doesn't have, really phenomenal cardio. He doesn't have Cyril Gane technical striking or Dos Santos athleticism and power. I don't know how he wins this, and I'm confused with the whole world and with the lines. Am I missing something here?
I don't think so. I mean, I will say this. You can only fight who's in front of you. At the end of the day, you can only fight and you can only beat who is in front of you. So sometimes that is a hard argument, but I totally agree with you. I mean, Daukaus is good at what he does. He's got fast hands for a heavyweight, but I had done a lot of research on him before. I had found him gassing. I had found him not being the best wrestler. There's definitely holes in his game. And when you've had a guy that's been at the top level for as long as Derrick Lewis has, people didn't want to give him credit before, and he has rose to every occasion year after year after year. He's had a long time in the game. I think it is a little bit weird. And the lines, I think, although Daukaus is a favorite, I think they're reflecting that this fight is very, very, very close.
Yeah, I think, Daukaus, he's not bad anywhere. He's good. He's good at jiu-jitsu. His hands aren't amazing, but he flicks them right down the middle. We saw that in his last fight. lands. He's not fast athletically, but he throws good, clean, fast, crisp punches down the middle and good combinations. He covers up kind of well. But what he does is he comes in kind of pawing with his hands. He gets too close. And what he's trying to do is he's trying to draw out a counter. He's trying to get close, paw with the hands, get people to react, and then come through the counter. Well, the thing is with Derrick Lewis is he kind of looks Neanderthalic with the way that he moves, the way that he fights. He just does nothing until he swings, but he's pretty calculated in his movements. When you get close, he moves away. He moves away. He moves away. He's trying to draw you into him. He's trying to draw you close enough to him to where he can throw those crazy heaters that he has like dynamite power in his hands. And I hate to sound cliche, but when he hits you, the lights go out. He does it. He draws people in. And then when they don't come in, when they kind of faint and they stay on the outside, that's when he kicks. He throws the right low kick. He throws the left middle kick. He throws that switch kick in the air, kind of jumps into it. Very dynamic, bad idea with a guy with bad cardio. But early in his career, he didn't know how to manage his cardio. I don't think he has better cardio now. I think he manages it better in those explosive movements. So when you're not engaging, he'll kick you. And then when you do engage him, he's throwing at you. But he's not wild. He's not as crazy as people think with that Curtis Blades fight. He was very calculated. And it wasn't like he was just throwing and swinging and finding something in the air. He threw a good uppercut right up the middle off of that time shot. And he almost killed Curtis Blades. I almost died watching Curtis Blades almost die. And he fights well. He's got a head. I mean, the size of a Pluto. And so how do you hurt him? I don't know that I can. And the other thing, he's gone main events. He's main evented numerous times. And I don't think Daukaus has. This is Daukaus' first main event. He's got cardio issues, as we've seen. Not horrible, but he definitely slows. And I think I'm wild here. I don't think this fight goes 5 rounds. I think it ends before that. So if you're worried about the win, definitely pick the doesn't go the distance. And I think Derrick Lewis wins this almost in, I don't know, unless I'm missing something here. I don't know that I see a path to victory for Daukaus.
I think punches to his head is probably the path to victory for Daukaus. Analytically, I have to go Daukaus here. Just because, you see what the UFC is setting up. They're giving him a matchup where he's going to be the star of the future, but, Black Beast is star of the past. So they're setting him up. He's younger, which doesn't really mean a ton at heavyweight. I can't trust Derrick Lewis. You never know what you're going to get with him. It's going to be the fake belly hurt to the overhand punch, or there's just too much. Not that he's got horrible fight IQ. He's just unpredictable. And I think at least Chris Daukaus knows what he wants to do, has an idea. He's training with those Philly guys. Like, he's tough. I hate this one. I could definitely see everything you say with Derrick Lewis go on. I could definitely see Derrick Lewis winning. I wouldn't even be remotely shocked. I guess I have to say Daukaus. I don't feel great about that. I really don't want to make a pick, but it's the main event. I guess there you go.
I really like Lewis on this, on the exact opposite. I feel like they're giving Lewis a win because I think they want Lewis back in the mix with Ngannou. So Ngannou and Cyril Gane are fighting. I think John Jones fights the winner of that. They need heavyweights. They need stars. Derrick Lewis is entertaining. He's very entertaining. He has a huge Instagram following. I think they want to keep Derrick. I think they want to keep Derrick Lewis around and in people's eyes and make as much money off of him as they can until he's just losing fight after fight after fight. I think they're giving him this fight as a win because I think they want his social media. I think they want his entertainment value. I think they want to finish the year with some sort of a wild knockout, Derrick Lewis, my balls is hot moment, whether it comes in the cage during the fight or the after fight or on his Instagram. I think they like Lewis. I think they're trying to set him up for something after this Ngannou Cyril Gane fight kind of plays out. And yeah, but nothing would surprise me with the Derrick Lewis fight though.
All right. I think that does it.
That is it. That is it. That is it. That is it. We promised you, though, we've got one extra little Christmas treat for you. Actually, a couple extra Christmas treats. But before we get to Brandon's Christmas presents on some of these regional shows, make sure you guys subscribe to our channel. I think we're killing it. I think we're having fun. We said our picks did well. You guys in the comments we love hearing from you. We love the Patreon that you guys are a part of. So if you're not part of the Patreon, definitely go in the show notes and take a look at that. Join us. We're on Telegram. Now we're on Discord in terms of our chat. And of course, Brandon and I are giving all of our actual bets, the regional card, a bunch of behind the scenes stuff. But man, those Discord and those Telegram chats are fun. It is not just Brandon and I talking. It is our whole community talking about fights, talking about bets, talking about football, talking about random Pokemon cards. I mean, anything that'll sell and make money, it is on there, and we're having fun. So come join us, you guys, on Patreon. Come join us on Discord, and we will see you there. Now, this is the last card before Christmas. We will not see you guys again for a UFC pod anyway until the middle of January. Brandon, you've got some Christmas presents for these guys. What do you got?
All right. Well, you know what? I gave you guys an early one last week. If you guys listened to the pod and you took what I gave you guys, a lot of times I'll give you parlays. I gave you Emmett, O'Malley, and Silva last week, cashed with ease. This week we're going to do something a little different. We're going to go cross promotion, KSW. Okay. So first and foremost, I want to start off with Shamad Erzakaravov versus Bartosz Rewewa. I like Shamad here, guys. Shamad was 6-0 as an amateur, all against tough guys with really, really good records. He is a striker who can also wrestle. He's followed by Joanna on Instagram, which, yes, that is important. Bartosz Rewewa, he was, pardon me, guys, he was 2-6 as an amateur, with his most recent amateur fight being in of May of this year. Okay, so it wasn't very long ago that he was that poor of an amateur. He's 1-0 as a pro. He accepts being on his back. His striking is not good. Fights like a complete ape. They're setting Shamad up for a huge victory here. He is a big favorite. That's okay. So next one I want you guys to add to this little Christmas parlay. I like Magdalena Sormova here. She's 11-3. She's got wins over Kay Hansen, Svetlana Gotsic. She's got great wins. She's physical. She's just strong. She's a decent striker, decent wrestling. The girl she's fighting is a fitness model, horrible MMA fighter, lays on her back, does not even have a grasp or concept. So here's what I want you guys to do before Christmas. Rayoni Barcelos, we got Shamad, and we got Magdalena. Throw those three together, 2 KSW, 1 UFC. Merry Christmas, y'all.
Well, there you have it. Merry Christmas. You guys have a good Christmas, good Hanukkah, good Kwanzaa, good Happy New Year, good anything else in between. Happy Festivus for the rest of us. And, Brandon, you have a good Christmas too. We will see you guys on the Patreon for the regional shows over the next few weeks, and then for the UFC card in January.
Peace.